Business Matters with Tony Iannelli starts now.
Good evening. Welcome. Business Matters. We're talking Pennsylvania liquor stores, its control, public or private. Rob Wonderling, some would say that there's a monopoly with respect to the state and the stores. Your thoughts on that?
Well, there has been since the 1930s. I think who we are in 2007, it's the 21st century. Let's get out of something that's not core to taxpayer or state government. Let's privatize the liquor system.
Income to make up, a problem with that? Or, I mean, would it be an economic hit?
No, not at all. That's a red herring. What I'd like to do under legislation that I'm going to be introducing is two things. One, let's auction off part of the over 600 liquor licenses that are out there that'll raise up to $1 billion that can be used to fund health care, roads, bridges, other core functions of our state government. And once these highly reputable private companies come in and run the retail portion only of our state store system, they'll be paying taxes, payroll taxes, sales taxes, business taxes. So the notion that we lose money by selling off the state store system is nothing but a red herring.
Okay, Wendell, you agree with that?
I don't think, no, absolutely not. I don't think Bob Wonderling's from Pennsylvania. I haven't sat here and just listened to that.
By the way, it's Rob.
Rob Wonderling. This is an old argument that goes back a lot of years, but the most recent time it was launched was under the Ridge administration. He's basing his assumptions on the Price Waterhouse study, which was completely discredited even by people in the Republican Party and the Ridge administration during the hearings more than a decade ago. The fact is, the system works. And it's a great example of how government's worked here, how revenue is coming in to the taxpayers. It's an asset owned by the taxpayers, over $400 million a year in 100% tax collection, profits to help fund state government, and to deal with alcohol abuse issues.
Okay, so Nick Hayes, though, wouldn't the privatization, might the margins increase? I mean, you hear over and over again that the private sector will do a better job than the public sector.
We don't think it would happen. If you go back to that study, our projections, our actual performance was better than that study by about $900 million over the past 10 years. So we don't think that it would be possible for that to succeed.
So from your perspective and Wendell's, the margins are as good as they get. Go ahead.
Go back even further. Governor Schaap, Governor Thornburg, every attempt to privatize has always showed figures that private industry can do it better, and that the state government was going to end up running the deficit operation. The exact opposite's been true.
Okay.
What Nick just pointed out is true. We beat every assumption on profits, on tax collection. Let me just comment on private sector. This assumption that private sector is going to do it better, absolutely false. I don't think that consumers, when they wake up and go pay their bill for their utilities, for their cable bills, at the gas pump, are happy with how private sector is handling those functions. I don't see how anybody can argue they'll handle this better.
Good point.
And monopoly's not exclusive to government. Those things I just mentioned are monopolies in the private sector.
I want to get Glenn in here, then we're going to go to break and finish this out. Go ahead, Glenn.
I think we need to look at this a little more broadly than revenue figures. There are a few thousand employees and managers of the state stores. There's 13 million Pennsylvanians. A lot of them are customers of the stores. We think their convenience.
So you're saying that I thought the call's position was just the opposite. You were for privatization. That is not the case?
We are for privatization. I'm saying that when you look at the greater interest of the state, you have to decide that it makes sense to privatize.
Okay, we're going to talk more about this. Business Matters, talking about the liquor stores, privatization. We'll be right back.
Not just business info, business issues from a progressive point of view. You're watching Business Matters. We cover the issues that are relevant to our viewers' lives. Now with more, here's Tony Iannelli.
We are back. We're talking liquor control, the state stores, how it might affect you. Rob Wonderling, you heard all the arguments with respect to job loss, and it's working. Have you done any comparisons, or are there any other states that are working?
Tony, this is Business Matters. First of all, Mr. Young is in the business of protecting union workers' jobs. Mr. Hayes gets sent here by the Liquor Control Board to essentially propagandize the status quo and say it's working fine. I'm in the business of serving people. And what I'm hearing from the folks that I represent is they're saying it's been 10 years since we've had a vigorous public debate on this issue. We're one of 2 states remaining to have a complete control system dating back to the 1930s. And as Glenn said, people want convenience. They want access.
I'm sorry, did you say one of 2? Only one of 2 states?
They have a complete control system, the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania and Utah. Now, by the way, what I'm proposing to do is sell the retail portion of our system. That does not mean that the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania gets out of the enforcement business.
Okay.
And we're working on measures to ensure that the private sector does not increase the availability of alcohol to, say, underage Pennsylvanians, but provide more convenience, better choice, at a better price, at no expense to the taxpayer. Who can be against that?
Okay, well, you're uncharacteristically quiet right now, but my point is, are you here to protect jobs?
Absolutely. I am not shy at all about my motive about representing workers. My primary responsibility as a union representative is to represent workers, and we represent these employees. So let's talk about what they do.
Okay.
They don't just serve a product at the cash register as it occurs in many other states. In the past 5 years, there's been only 2 documented incidents of a PLCB employee serving a minor. However, just this past year, a study was done in Oregon that shows that 34% of the time, private retail establishments serve minors, people wine and spirits.
You're saying with the change, out goes the control.
We carded 1 million people last year.
Okay.
That's protecting the citizens of Pennsylvania. Do you really think that in a privatized system that they're going to try to card everybody and prevent underage or drunk people?
Are you saying the motivation would be sell?
Absolutely. You know, let's talk about motives. My motive is to protect workers, and as a taxpayer, I want to keep the asset in my hands as a taxpayer, not give it to the people who have other motives here. And let's face it, business, the motive is profit. It's purely profit. And the idea of better selection, nonsense. Maybe some real high-end stores in some heavily, densely populated areas will look really good, but the fact is, in Rob Wonderling's own hearing, Costco testified and said that their average store serves 270 items. That is less than half of what the smallest Pennsylvania wine spirit shop in the entire state
sells. So you're saying you go head with any private store?
Absolutely. In fact,
look, I don't at all apologize for Wendell's goal. His goal is to grow his membership. In fact, at that very same hearing, he testified that his membership is growing in other sectors. And so he's an entrepreneur, as an organized laborer, growing union membership. That's great. But let's face it. His union, this administration, is right now supporting legislation that will allow wine to be sold at farmers markets. His union workers aren't going to be at the farmers market in Emmaus selling wine, Pennsylvania wine, but yet we're doing it that way. Why not just say what it is, and it is? And that is the fact that the state can still control alcohol and enforce the sale of alcohol without being in the business of profiting from it.
I got to let